A little news headline tidbit before I get started reading. Scientists have recently discovered that perhaps the Big Bang cosmology is woefully inadequate, and they hypothesize that the universe has always existed. The beginning-end format? Maybe not. Regardless, pantheism and panentheism still hold sway. Continuing with the classical traditional theism segment of this reading. What does classical traditional theism imply about our significance in eternity? Under classical traditional theism, we are allowed into eternity, but it is a gift, and the type of eternity can be bought through behavior or faith. Purchase of heaven or quote unquote hell form of eternal existence offers hope. One may experience a wonderful existence after life, or one may not. But the fact remains under classical traditional theism that the opportunity for one or the other is there. Many would say this is a significant improvement over the total lack of eternal awareness atheism offers. Atheists, I would say, to quote a better phrase, are asleep at the wheel. Added for emphasis. But is our perception of eternity under classical traditional theism really one of having to buy a particular type of existence? In a sense it is. If one quote unquote believes, one will go to heaven. This is faith. But if one doesn't believe, cannot believe, then the perception is that they are not working hard enough, they are lazy, or they just profess they want to believe but really don't. Believing implies you are lying. This is followed up by the thoughts the atheist is lying about not being able to believe, and therefore they not only will go to hell, but they will be sent there. Some people even go so far as to say that one can do anything one wishes in life, lead the most vicious life, as long as one, quote, truly repents. On one's deathbed, well, who wouldn't truly repent? Whatever the case, classical traditional theism has definitely had a major impact upon our perception of eternity as concept and the role we play in it. Under classical traditional theism, we are affected by eternity, but we do not affect eternity. It is a one-way street. But if we do not affect eternity, then what significance could we possibly have in eternity? Classical traditional theism has undoubtedly expanded our perception regarding our being a part of eternity. It has elevated our significance to that of our awareness, our soul actually being eternal. Eternity affects us. On the other hand, classical traditional theism has come up short in terms of explaining what significance we have to eternity. This is where panentheism, symbiotic panentheism, and its variations comes into the picture. Under panentheism, not only are you affected by eternity, but you actually impact and are significant to eternity. What does classical traditional theism imply about our relationship to God, the causative force? CT has developed the idea that the world is related to God, but God is not related to the world. Enter relational, open process theology, or in other words, panentheism and or pantheism. Why the world is related to God, the causative force, is obvious under classical theism. The world, according to most religions, was created by the causative force, thus the name causative force. God caused all that came to be. But classical traditional theism provides no meaning for us in terms of the causative force needing us. To most theologians and philosophers, this would indicate a weakness in God, who is perfect and almighty, or omnipotent, paradoxically. In fact, the idea of the causative force needing us is objected to vehemently by the classical traditional theists. The result of this objection is an acceptance of a hierarchical system between humanity and God, based upon relative worth. The causative force has much worth, we have none. We're pitiful sinners. There is no doubt that classical traditional theism has expanded our significance immensely over atheism, for it has expanded our perception of existence into eternity. However, with the willingness to develop a hierarchical system between ourselves and the causative force, we established the logic for a hierarchy system within our society. So what happened? Power tripping. Hierarchical systems may not sound bad, but keep in mind the types of the actions they tend to reinforce between us as humans. They provide the logic that some journeys are more significant than others. Competition over cooperation. Warfare over peace. And the list goes on. They provide the logic that some skin colors are better than others. They provide the logic that some genders are better than others. They simply provide the logic of judging the value of one over another. And this is everywhere. We do so by simply expanding the significance of the individual. And how can we logically do so? We expand our view of the size of the causative force. We make the causative force so big, so interpenetrating, truly omnipresent, there is nowhere else to put us but within her, it, he, the causative force, or God. Does this call for the dismantling of our economic systems, social systems, and religious beliefs? No. We use what works and modify what doesn't. Capitalism and democracy, for instance, have worked better than any other systems we have developed to date. Although this would be argued perhaps against by socialists and any other form of government they consider to be better. Of course, that's the spirit of the competition, right?